creating, formatting, and editing a Word document with a picture. In this video, we're going to be creating a flyer advertising surfing lessons. And here's a view of what this flyer should look like when we're finished with it. The image seen on this flyer can be found on the course page. So we're going to begin with a blank document. And we're going to begin typing the headline of this flyer. Now the headline is the first thing that people will see when they see this flyer. And here's the headline. It says, "Surf's Up." And there's an exclamation mark. And mind you, Shift and the number 1 should give you that exclamation mark. Now press the Enter key. We're moving down a line. And press it again because we're leaving a space or an empty blank line. Now we're going to pause a little bit to talk about formatting marks. Now there's this button, it says Show Hide, that turns on what's called formatting marks. Now you might find it useful to display these when working in your document. They do not print, they just show up in the document. And the purpose is to indicate whenever the space bar has been pressed, and even when the tab key has been pressed, and even when the enter key has been pressed. Now if you look closely, there's a dot between the words surfs and up. That indicates where the space bar was pressed. And the paragraph mark indicates where the enter key has been pressed. Any other formatting marks will display depending on what keys have been pressed. Now some might find these annoying and some might prefer to keep them on, but in my case I'm going to turn them off. Now returning to the spot where the enter key was last pressed, we're going to type some more text. And the text reads like this. Learn to surf or improve your form and skills on the waves through expert instruction from our award-winning surf school. Now, award-winning should have a dash between them, so I'm going to put that dash in. Award-winning surf school. Now, pause a little bit and we're going to talk about word wrap. Now, if you're following along in your books, you'll notice it describes word wrap for you. Now, what's word wrap? It allows you to continuously type in your document without having to press the enter key at the end of the line. And there are only 4 reasons why you would probably want to hit enter anyways. 1, to insert a blank line. 2, to begin a new paragraph. 3, to terminate a short line of text. And 4, to advance or move on to a new line. Now, in this case, as you noticed, as you typed, you simply continued typing and the software moved along the words and continued on to the next line. That's really what word wrap is all about. Now we're going to press enter to move down to the next line, and we're going to begin typing, but we're going to spell a particular word wrong on purpose because we're making a point here. And let's type private or group, but I'm going to spell group wrong. Now notice there is a red wavy underline on the word that we spelled wrong. Now why is this? The spelling and grammar check is running in this document, and it indicates whenever you have a misspelled word or grammatical error or anything pertaining to clarity or conciseness. So let's describe these lines as they show up. Now let me first point to you to the spelling and grammar check icon, which is in your status bar. If you've never noticed it, you look down there, you'll see that when you're typing, you notice, I'm just going to type, it looks like there's a pencil down there. When you stop typing and it finds errors, it gives a X. But if everything is all good, look down again, there's a tick. Okay, so let's go back to our error. Now the spelling and grammar check icon has picked up this error, and it's a red wavy underline, and that's because that word might be misspelled or It might be a proper name, or it's just not in the word dictionary. So yes, there is a word dictionary, and we can point that out to you a little later on in the video. Sometimes you might put up on green wavy underlines or double blue lines that indicate grammar issues. And sometimes you might find brown dashed lines, which asks for clarity or conciseness in your writing. Now, some might go ahead to fix this error by finding the space where the missing letter is and typing it in. Yes, that's all old school. But without doing all of that, you can simply right-click on the misspelled word or the word with the error. That's right-clicking. And you notice the software is immediately trying to hint at you as to a suggestion then, which one of these words is the right word. And you notice it even defines for you the words. So in this case, we want group. Now our line is incomplete. It should continue to read private or group lessons. And that's the end of that line. So we're going to press enter and we're going to move on to the next line, which reads photo and video packages available. Enter to the next line, which reads reef shoes and surfboard rental included. And then press enter again, end of the line. And the last line, which is referred to as the signature line, it reads to sign up for a lesson, comma, call 555 surf with a dash, surf. And there's an exclamation mark at the end of that. That's it for the typing for this document. From here on, it's formatting, formatting, and more formatting. So what are we formatting? Now you have two types of formatting. You can format paragraphs and you can format text. So we're going to deal with both. So here goes. Returning to the first line of text that reads surfs up. That is the headline. We're going to center this line of text. Now there's several ways to get this done. Now you don't even have to highlight the line for that formatting to take place. I can simply have my insertion point in the line, anywhere in the line, and you can go up to the paragraph group and use the center button. Otherwise, I'm just undid that, you can use shortcut keys. Control and the letter E is a shortcut key for center. Or you might even use the mini toolbar that pops up and you'll notice, well, center is not here, but any other options that might be necessary will show up in that mini toolbar. Now, still working on that line of text, we're going to change the size of the text. Now, right now, the size is size 11, and that's pretty small for a flyer. We're going to change the size all the way up to 72, which seemingly is the biggest size there. But did you know you can have sizes that are not in the list? For example, there's no size 30 here. How do you get 30? You can simply type 30, hit enter, and the software will automatically adjust your size. Heck, you can even get half sizes. How about a 25.5? There you go. And what about sizes that are not even in the list? Can I get a size 100? Sure. Okay, so you have a little bit of freedom when choosing font sizes. Now let's look at font styles. Font style determines how the text looks, you know, the curviness of the words or how spaced they are. And the font type we're looking for is in your font list. And we're looking for a font by the name of Rockwell Extra Bold. Now this list is in alphabetical order, so you could have dragged the scroll bar to find it all the way down to R, or you could do like I like to do. I simply type the beginning letters, OC, and it should bring up the list a little closer to what I'm looking for. So that's Rockwell Extra Bold. Now following that, there is a nice button that was not previously in the 2010, well, probably the 2007 edition of Microsoft Word. And this is the change case button. You have the ability to use this button to change your words to sentence case or all lowercase, and in our case, all uppercase, and you notice the other two options. So that's the change case button. Now we're still working on Surf's Up. We want to apply an effect to it, and there's a button here called the Text Effects and Typography button. And we're going to find a style here called white, fill white, outline, orange accent color 2, hard shadow, orange accent color 2. Now these things are really long names, so you're simply looking at this particular orange text effect. Next, so that it's easier to see the words, if you notice, if this is on a flyer, it's kind of hard to see. We're going to shade the background of the text that we just applied the text effect to. So where's the shading button? In your paragraph group, you'll notice a button that kind of looks like a bucket of paint that's kind of tilted to spilling over. We're going to be applying a color here called orange accent 2 darker, 25%. And that should enhance the visibility of the words in the headline. Now that's it for the title. Now the last line of text we'll get to shortly. But let's deal with the text in the middle. Now there are different ways of selecting text. Did you know that you could drag through the text? And I'm sure you know that one. But how about using arrow keys? Holding down the Shift key on your keyboard and using the arrow keys, and this, I'm pressing the right arrow key here, or the down arrow key, depends on what you're trying to do. You should be able to highlight text that way. Might take a little longer. Or still holding Shift, notice my insertion point is at the beginning of the line. I can click at the appropriate location in the document where I want my highlight to stop. That should work as well. Or there's a right pointing arrow, which is only seen when you put your mouse in the left margin. Notice my mouse is pointing towards the right. Now normally your mouse pointer points left. Notice it's up, just pointing normally. It's left pointing, but in that left margin, sorry, your arrow becomes right pointing. And here you have the ability to simply click and drag through it. So now that you've dragged through and selected the text, no matter what method you use, all we want to do with this text here is to increase the size to size 24. Now let's get to the last line of text. This line they call the signature line. This line of text, the size of the text is what we want to change. And so we can highlight the text, yes. And we're going to change the size, change the color, and change the indentation or the center. We're actually going to center this line. So the signature line, let's center it. And we're going to change the color, and we're going to change the size. Okay, so the size of the text for the signature line should be size 28. And the color, which is the font color, is that same orange that we used before. Orange accent 2 darker, 25%. Now that we're finished formatting paragraphs, let's format individual items. For example, we want to bold some text, underline some text, and even italicize some text. So let's see what text are going to get these formatting. Okay, let's start off with the italic. Italicizing text is just going to give the text a little bit of a slanted appearance. So the word that's going to be in italic is the word expert. And I see I have an error here. This is supposed to be expert, and I have exert. Okay, expert. Now I have the right word. I'm going to select this line of this single word, sorry, and italicizing the text means going to the font group and clicking the I, or if you use the shortcut keys Control and I, that will do it as well. And that word will get a little emphasis by way of a color change. That same orange that we've been applying earlier, we're going to apply it here again. And notice we don't have to go back into the list to pick the color because the software has kept the color. So that's one. We're going to underline some text. For emphasis, the phone number 555 SURF, which does not include the exclamation mark, will be underlined, and the shortcut keys here, Control and U. And finally, the words award-winning will be bold. And bolding simply darkens the text for emphasis. Okay, now to get a better view of the document, we're going to zoom out. So you have a better idea of how the document's looking right now. Let's zoom out. And I'm about 50% zoomed out right now. Now, we applied orange initially, but did you know with the click of a button, you can change up the entire color scheme of your document? On page WD29 of your book, you'll find different colors and their meanings. Now, let's change up the color scheme. You'll find this option on the Design tab, and there's the Colors button. We're going to choose blue. Now, just pointing at the others, you'll notice the color changes, but we're going to pick blue. And that's just one of many options available. Now it's about time to insert the graphic, that image of the surfer, into this document. So you will have to go to the eLearn website, right-click on that, locate the image, right-click on it, save the image to be able to insert it here. Now, where is this picture going to be going? Just below the headline is that space that we left blank. And we're going to center the insertion point. Let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see better. Center the insertion point using shortcut keys here. And because I've saved the image before, I'll have to go to the Insert tab, go to the Pictures option, locate my picture, select it to insert it. And this is the image as it appears in the eLearn course page. Now it's a little large, so we're going to make some adjustments to the picture. Now you'll notice that the picture comes with a selection rectangle, meaning when you select the picture, a selection rectangle shows up around the picture, and hanging on to the selection rectangle are what are referred to as sizing handles. And this allows you to be able to resize the graphic. In addition to that, you'll find the layout options button that's appended to the right edge. And you even have a rotation handle where you can tilt a picture. Now we want to change the size, so I'm going to use the lower left corners sizing handle, and when I click and hold my mouse down, I am able to resize the graphic, and just estimating the size here so that it's proportionately resized. There are ways to check the size of a graphic in terms of the height and width, and if you go to the Picture Tools Format tab, you'll notice there's a section for size, and you can actually have precise measurements. Okay, let's add some effects to this graphic. Now on the Picture Tools Format tab, there's a gallery of picture styles, and the one we're going to be applying is called Soft Edge Oval. Soft Edge Oval. So I'm going to select that. So that's one enhancement that you can make to the graphic. Here's another enhancement. To the right of the Picture Stars gallery, there's the Picture Effects button, and we're going to go to the category called Glow, and there's one in the first row furthest to the right. It's called Glow 5-Point Lime Accent 6, and it gives you a glowing lime colored shadow at the back of the graphic. Return to that same button, the Picture Effects button, and this time go to Bevel, and you can point to the effects to see how the graphic looks when it's if it were to be applied. But the one we're choosing here is called Angle, and it gives a bit of an edge to the graphic. So this still has the, you notice it still has the glow at the back of the graphic. Now we have another enhancement, and this enhancement is the addition of a page border. The addition of a page border. Now you'll find the page borders on the Design tab. And furthest to the right is the Page Borders button. And we're going to be applying a page border of the line styles. So you notice the lines, and I think we're choosing the 6th one down. Okay, now just picking it by itself, you end up with the pattern, but it's going to be in black. But we're going to choose a color instead, and this time the color is Lime Accent 6, lighter 40%. And you might be wondering, but you can't see that really. So we'll increase the width. So we'll have a thicker line, which we're choosing 4.5 pt, or 4.5 points. When you click on OK, you'll notice now that the page border is now a little bit more visible on the flyer. Now, let's spend a little time on bullets. Bullets. Now I'm going to zoom back in just a bit so you can see what's going on. Now these 3 lines of text, private or group lessons, photo and video packages available, and reef shoes and surfboard rental included, we need bullets there. Now back on the Home tab, there is the bullets button, and if you simply click it, you will get the regular bullets, which is the round black dots. Now if you want something different from that, you can click the arrow that's beside that button, and you have some more options. Now, did you know that you can have bullets that are not in this list? Let's explore. We're going to go to Define New Bullets in that same drop-down window. We're going to go to Symbol, and you can actually have pictures as bullets too. But let's head to Symbol. Let's deal with that first. Symbol. And there are different categories of symbols that you can actually use. You can check the list out. Lots of different categories. Now, my favorites are the wingdings and webdings. So go all the way down to the W section and you see webdings. And there are all sorts of nice little icons here that can be used as bullets. Here, there's even a pair of sunglasses. Let's try that one out. There's also the wingdings and the wingdings 2 and wingdings 3. So I'm going back to the webdings. I'm going to choose those sunglasses. Now, in its default setting, the sunglasses will come in black. But let's go to font. There's a button for font, and you have the ability to change the color. So let's say I wanted some blue sunglasses. When I click on OK and OK again, my new bullets should be what I selected in sunglasses in blue. Now, yes, my text is a little off, out of line. That can be adjusted. Okay, should be able to adjust it. Okay, it's working now. There we go. So that the text is in line, and I'm using markers on the ruler to do that. All right. Now, what about pictures as bullets? Yes, let's do that too. Going back to the same bullets button, the arrow beside it, back to define new bullet. Instead of symbol, go to picture, and I guess we'll load a picture, and we'll try to use it as a bullet. Just finding a surfing picture. Let's see what happens. And if I click on OK, the picture should become the bullets. So let's try that again. Right, there you go. Have it in the right place now. So notice the picture becomes a bullet. Not very visible, but it is possible. So I'm going to revert the bullets back to the sunglasses because I think they're quite nifty. Now, the final thing that we're going to do with this document is to do some formatting. More formatting in that, what if you had to insert a word? For example, it should have read, learn to surf today, and you would type the word in the right spot. So how do you do that? Of course, you use your mouse pointer and or your arrow keys to guide your insertion point to the right spot. So in this case, it's just before the O in or. And when I begin typing today, T-O-D-A-Y, the space, the software is simply pushing the text across to the right. Did you know that all along you've been working in the insert mode? Look at my status bar and you'll notice there's an option for insert. If I click that button, it's going to switch over to what's called overtype. And if I type another word, let's say the word and, if you notice, overtype is erasing as you type or it's deleting as you type. So there are two modes of typing. Insert mode, where the text is simply inserted and the current text is pushed across to the right. And there's the overtype mode where the text is deleting as you type. How do you get this option? I'm going to undo these to go back to where we were. And to get the overtype insert option on your status bar, right click your status bar in any blank area. And you notice in the list, there is the overtype insert or insert overtype, whichever one you're going to see. And when you click on it, it should be added to your status bar. Now, to delete a word, let's say I had today back there, you can double click the word, which will double click, meaning you can select a word by double clicking instead of having to drag through. That is just for one word. And hit the delete key, of course. It looks like I'm still in overtype mode. Let's set that right. There we go, fixed it. Now, what if you had to remove a word? You can either use backspace or delete. Now, is there a big difference? Yes, actually there is. Let's put back today. Let's talk about backspace and let's talk about delete. Now, if I were to delete the word today and my insertion point is just before the T in today, which key should I use? I'll be using the delete key because it's deleting characters to the right of the insertion point. I'm undoing that action. Now, in the same place, if I hit the delete key, if I hit the backspace key, it means I'm deleting the word surf. But if I put my insertion point beside the Y of today and I use backspace, I'm deleting the characters going to the left, and the word today would definitely be deleted. So delete deletes characters to the right and backspace deletes characters to the left. Now what if you had to move some text around? Now this third bullet that reads reef shoes and surfboard rental included should actually have been the second bullet and not the last bullet. Now some might go up to the clipboard section and select cut. Highlight the text, of course, select cut, and then place the insertion point in the new space and go and select paste. That's fine, that will work. Did you know you can drag and drop text into their new locations? So here we have the same text as highlighted. Point and click and hold your mouse button down, and you're going to notice your mouse pointer is going to look a little different. It has a dotted box beneath it. Move your mouse to the point at which you want your text to be moved. I'm still holding down my mouse button, mind you. Release the mouse button and your text should automatically move to the new location. That is called dragging and dropping. So you can cut and paste, but you can also drag and drop. Now here's a little quick hint. Did you know that if you hold the control key while dragging and dropping, you're actually copying and pasting? Watch and see. Just holding the control key while dragging and dropping is going to duplicate the text. So I'm going to undo that action. Now, we've learned a lot today. Be sure to go back through the textbook to the pages WD1 to WD47 to find out more about the information seen in this video. Thanks for watching.